Hello, everyone. This is saying happy new month to everyone, to all our viewers, everyone who's been supporting us. Welcome to September, a month to remember. Okay, the Ember months are always exciting, so to say, because uh, Christians begin to prepare for Christmas. Everyone also begin to prepare for the end of the year, and aspirations are high. People are beginning to check their resolutions to see what they wrote in January, whether it's coming to fruition and all that. But hey, it's also a time where people get sober reflections and all that, feeling like, okay, I planned in January that I was going to get a car before the year ends, no car yet. I planned that I was going to establish a business, no business yet. For the ladies, they will say, in January, God, give me a new husband, give me a husband, blah, blah, blah. And this is September and the husband is not coming. But not to worry, just hang on, be prayerful and hopeful. You never can tell, it's at that point in time when you don't expect it happens. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, and this is welcoming you to the Tuesday's edition of the program. Today is going to be quite an exciting and interesting one because our topic of discussion has to do with young people. And every time we talk about issues that affect young people, the youth and everything, it's always a very hyperactive one. We're looking at youth and unemployment. Okay, so we're asking, knowing that the COVID-19 has done a lot in all sectors, so not just for young people, but for women, men, children, the educational sector, the infrastructures and all that. No one saw it coming when 2020 started. And here we are, saddled with a whole lot of responsibility and a lot of vices that the COVID-19 has brought. So today we're looking at that. My two guests who will throw more light on this. One is from Nigeria, Mr. Philip, and then the second one we'll be expecting later on the show from Ghana, talking about Mr. Oxford. He'll be joining us shortly. But for now, let me bring Mr. Philip in to tell us his name, what he does, and all that. Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ma. How are you doing?
Welcome. I'm good. Welcome to Shagalinku.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so would like to know your name in full, what you do. I know you are apparently a very regular viewer of our show here, and that's why it's a good thing to have you on the other side. Like they will say, the hunter is being hunted now.
That's it.
So okay, would like you to tell us more. Yeah.
My name is Ivoke Philip Ivoke. Fortunately, I'm a trained journalist, a social entrepreneur, and also a businessman, which the aspect I like to be identified with presently.
Yeah. So you're welcome. Yeah. I know you've seen the flyers, and then for everyone who wants to join us, all you need to do is just go to Shagalinku TV page, like the page, you'll see us rolling live, and then the comment sections are also open for discussions. That's where our viewers get to interact with us, as in we and our guests, and ask questions, and it will be scrolling there, and they can our guests can respond to them. I know you've seen the flyers. Let's even talk a little about the impact that COVID-19 has had on everything generally, quickly, before we talk about how it's affecting youth employment. Because come to think of it, a lot of young people are also working. A lot of young people, sadly, are also in school. So when we shout and scream that young people should either be working or in school or be productive, and here we are, they are being saddled to stay back at home because those who are working maybe lost their jobs, and those who are in school can't go back to school because schools are not opened. So let's even talk briefly about the adverse effects that COVID-19 has had, and then we'll come back to talk about it on youth employment. Hello?
Hello?
Okay, yes, so yeah, go on.
Like it's obvious the year has been a very tumultuous one for everyone, and the COVID-19 has become an albatross, and there's no sector that are not affected by the impact of COVID-19. The youth, in the other hand, are the most hit because several economic activities where their strength, where the opportunity that would have existed for them reside, are all seriously impacted by the virus. And majorly also, you know, the majority of the youths, several of them are still in schools. And as we know today, most schools, in fact, all the schools in Nigeria today are not in session. So, and even those of them that are out of school, looking for opportunities, many businesses have not been operating fully as a result of the impact of the COVID-19. And again, you know, the pandemic really came as a shock to a whole lot of people because most businesses were not prepared as at the time the incident of the virus came. So there was no plan. Nobody had any plan B. And with the huge impact that it has created, most businesses are at a very terrible stage at this moment. And the youth subsequently are affected because when there is very little economic activities happening, naturally it will affect every other thing. And I think going out from what we're taking out of this year is the fact that you know, sometimes you cannot know it all. You can't plan to the last. So we'll still, whenever we plan.
Okay.
And we also make plans for eventualities for a situation like this, because.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please go on.
Yes, like I was saying, if someone has told us in January that this year will turn out this way, a lot of people wouldn't even believe it. But here we are today. But importantly, you know, every situation, every challenges come with its own opportunity. So what it means is that we begin to reassess ourselves and begin to see a new way of, you know, of doing things. Importantly, difficult as it is, the pandemic have also created a lot of opportunity for everyone, not just the young people, because there are new industry that have emerged as a result of the pandemic. So going forward, I think we'll look at some of the opportunities that we can, you know, take out of what have happened this year. So generally, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. In case you just joined us, the program is Shagalinko TV. It comes your way every Tuesdays and Saturdays, 2 p.m. West African time. We talk about topical issues and issues that affect humanity, and give you the opportunity to also join us by dropping your comments on the comment section. Okay, thank you for that. So the comments are rolling and we'll be reading them shortly. In case you just joined, we're asking the question, what can we do to solve the issues of youth unemployment vis-a-vis the COVID-19 pandemic and how it has affected virtually all sectors and all that. And I have my guest here, Mr. Ivoke, Philip Ivoke, and we'll be expecting other guests from Ghana, talking about Mr. Oxford Bonsu later on in the show. While our guest, I guess, just went off now, so I'll wait a little to get him on, and we will continue. But this is also to say that you have the comment section. Please drop your comments there on our topic of discussion. We're looking at youth unemployment, you know, even the few jobs that have been there, you know, it's beginning to go off too. It's slipping off the hands of both adults and young people, and even women who are also vastly affected by the pandemic, and then the lockdown that also came with the pandemic, a period of it all when it was the peak, you know. Everyone had to stay at home, and, you know, we had all manner of issues. I have my guests back, so we will welcome back Mr. Philip. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Network could be terrible sometimes, yeah. You know. Okay, so We will. I wanted to read a few messages, but let me take you quickly on this one before we start reading the comments that are coming in. There are speculations here and there, especially from the media front, that young people are actually unemployable, because one, maybe they lack skills, they lack competence, and then some go to school to read courses which are really not relevant in this era. I like the fact when you started that you talked about even in the pandemic now, a lot of people are also it's making wave for new opportunities, new horizon, and all that. So what do you think about when people say young people are unemployable? You find some people will tell you a graduate comes to their office and they tell them just do a simple letter or something, and they find it hard to put up a letter, a simple letter. So let's not also just keep blaming unemployment for the government or private sector. Are young people also equipped? Do they have that competence, making them, lucrative in the labor market?
Honestly, if you are a business owner, one of the most difficult things you face on a daily basis is getting the right people, to work for you. And it's something that we should not leave it just totally on the full step on the side of the youths, because part of the challenges we're having is the structure of our educational system.
True.
Our school system as it is today are actually meant just to provide the workforce for the public service. It doesn't have so much content as regards, building the skills and the skills of young people, to be able to come out of school and start on their own. So what I should think, yes, it's a major challenge. Most times people study courses just, for the sake of it.
To
they
get
just
paper qualification.
To have the qualification, which is important. But I think what is necessary at this day is the fact that a time has come that as on a holistic approach, Nigerian educational system, the curriculum should be reviewed to reflect the reality of the time we live in. When you look at what is happening in other parts of the world, the bulk of the people who engineer new business, who build new businesses, are people from institutions, from school. After graduating, they equip, they know, they have the zeal. But in our own case, in our own climate, it appears that our educational system is structured mainly to provide, workforce for the public service, which is a major problem. Because when you own a business, you realize that the most difficult part of your job is the right people, to do the work and have the capacity, to be able to deliver on your set goals. So it's a major problem. Sometimes it's not just the absence of employment. It has to do a lot with the capacity and the skill of people that are looking for employment. In fact, the fact is that if you have the requisite skill, if you have the capacity, you can easily get job. But again, yes, most times we look at the public service as the major employer of labor in this part of the world. Unfortunately, they lack the capacity. The government cannot provide enough job for everyone. That's just the truth. People need to begin to think. We need to begin to make policies that will, equip our youths with the capacity, with the skill that they require to a life supporting skill that they require after attending education. So that's, for me, that's what is important now, the skill. But again, on the part of the youth, the world is a global village. If you seek for information, you definitely will get it. I encourage you to research, look for skill, acquire skills on your own. You can do a whole lot of things. You can, if you invest your time in productive venture by seeking for opportunities or new skills that will be useful to you, you'll be doing a whole lot of good for yourself. So that's what I think on the part of the youth, because the time have changed. Actually, the time have changed. The economy of Nigeria is affected by what is happening in every other part of the world. It's not just, we are not just talking about Nigeria, because if you are able to acquire skills that are relevant, not just in our environment, I can assure you that from where you are, you can make a lot of money just where you are, and you'll be participating in economic activities that translate where you are. So that's the responsibility that our youth need to begin to reevaluate themselves and, take things more serious. So many things is changing. The social media has brought a new moment, has brought a new time that requires a lot of understanding. Because one of the things that I have realized from my years of activities in the private sector is the fact that so many people want to emerge. They just want to emerge, not knowing that for you to build a successful business, for you to build a successful career, yes, it has to do with a lot of sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your time. You have to sacrifice your energy. Sometimes your comfort. Let me give you an instance. I've mentored few young people that want to start business. The first thing that usually come up in their mind is the fact that they want to have an office, a posh office, where they can relax. You see the executive setup where they can enjoy themselves and with that kind of thing. But that's not what you should look out for in a business. First of all, sometimes you don't even need those offices.
True.
What you need, you don't need those offices, because when you get those offices, you have depleted the resources that you invested in your business. True. You can start with a small room in your house. The important to have credible and bankable business idea, and the sky will be your limit.
True. Thank you so much, sir. We'll begin to take some messages. I'll put them on the screen so you could read them, and then we'll come back and even talk about some of the skills that young people should have, because we can't keep complaining about unemployment. And another thing I need you to address, maybe as we proceed in the program, is that are young people not also selective? Because we can't say outrightly that there are no jobs. Like you said, when you mentor some young people and teach them how to do business or start up of skills or start up businesses, so to say, the first thing that comes to their mind is they want to sit in big chairs, swing chairs, be called CEOs. They do business cards, and they want a posh office in some posh areas. And they eat up their capital, actually, something they would have invested little by little. But we'll come to that soon. So I need you to read this message here, and then you could respond to it. Could you read this out for us, if you can see it on your screen?
Maybe if you can read it because it's a little bit tiny here, so I'm not...
Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is from Abu Umar Adiribigbe. It says, nice discussions. It is true the pandemic has eaten deep into the youth. In fact, many have lost their jobs and means of livelihood. To even make it worse, e-commerce has been challenging, as this is one field, many youths are involved in. Forex scarcity, limitations on international transactions, and decline of Nigerian bank cards as a result of the negative impact of people like Hush Puppy. Unfortunately, many people are on their own as the government incentives are little or nothing. And also, okay, that ended there. Yes. Could you respond to this while I bring Mr. Oxford to join us? So please quickly respond to that, Mr. Philip. Yeah.
Yes. The reality of the time we live in is the fact that a lot of things have actually changed. But I believe strongly that just like he stated in his message, the e-commerce has become one strong, opportunity that exists at present. Yes, we know that the challenges we have due to the strength in terms because of the credibility of most online transactions in Nigeria. So it's a major problem. But what I also think is the fact that we have so many opportunities that exist in our country today. So much. All we need to do is to look inward and begin to assess some of those opportunities as they exist. Let me give you an instance. There are so much opportunity that exist in the agricultural sector. If the youth can explore, the benefits that is inherent in the agricultural sector and make the best of it, they will be doing. In fact, it's like a gold mine, because currently we realize that even most of the as basic product, it just recently that the government banned the importation of rice, the maize, the one of the recent, which is maize. So I also think that there are several opportunities that exist in our economy as it is today. All we need to do is just to. It's not just. It may not be so beautiful a job, what we call dirty jobs, because that's the one a lot of people don't want to get involved. But actually, that's where the money is. True. If you can just look at the opportunity that exists in the agricultural food chain, it is huge. I move around very often, and I go to businesses, supermarkets, and you see products that you can actually replicate the local content, but we're still importing them. You understand? So I still think, yes, the e-commerce, because of the credibility in quotes of the Nigerian, the perception people have about us in internet transactions, which is a major problem, because you hardly can perform several international businesses as a result of it today. But I would advise our follower, to do a lot more, do a lot more research. There are still 1,001 opportunity that exist in our economy. If we can meet the need of our people, creating wealth is about finding where there are lacks and meeting it. When you do that, the sky is your limit.
Yeah. Okay. In case you just joined, the program is Shagalinko TV. This is a Tuesday's edition, and we're looking at youth unemployment. What are the problems? What are the solutions? And I have with me my guest, Mr. Ivoke, Philip Ivoke. We'll be joining Mr. Oxford from Ghana shortly. But let's take this quick break. When we come back, we'll still be here to talk about that. Keep your messages coming. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. It's still Shagalinko TV here. I don't know if Mr. Oxford is okay. Yeah, he's back here. So let's just add him quickly to join in the conversations. Akwaba.
Yeah.
So where have you been? We've been waiting for you. We thought you were busy trying to get us Ghana jollof rice, but unfortunately, we just see you empty-handed, Mr. Oxford.
Yeah. Yes, first of all, let me apologize to your audience, your listeners, for the late. Today, we had a major meeting at the office, and so I couldn't avoid that meeting. So I tried to, run quickly and to join you, because I see this as a very important topic that we are discussing to benefit the youth in the whole world. So I cannot deny this opportunity myself.
Yeah. So please go on and let us know who you are, what you do, and then we'll take up the discussions from there, sir.
So quick one, because currently I'm working as a director of project for Ghana National Service Scheme. So it's a public sector, equivalent to what you have in your place as a youth service or something. So our main mandate is to deploy university graduates to various institutions for them to learn skills that will make them employable after their school. So that's basically where I work. It's a public sector, it's a government institution, But my role in that institution is to manage all the projects under the scheme throughout the country. So part of what we do, we have agricultural projects, we have water factory, we have mechanization, we have borehole drilling, a rig, and that's what I supervise. So all the projects throughout the country, that's what I do. So we have big commercial crop farming, we have poultry, that is about 50,000 capacity. We have livestock, we have rabbitry, we have.
Oh, he's gone up. Okay.
Yeah. And then before that, prior to working at the National Service, I used to work on USAID project called Young African Leaders Initiative.
Okay. Um, it's his network is bad again. We need this Ghana jollof for Mr. Oxford. Okay, so let me come back to you, Mr. Philip. Let's talk some more. I think I saw some messages here that wanted to read so that you could respond to them. And while we ask, but let's even come back. I saw a message here from Matthias Idris. We'll come and read that message on his own contribution. But you were talking about skills and what young people can do, because it's not just enough to keep shouting that government has to do this. Government, and I like the fact you talked about. There's nowhere in the world where the government provides 100% job opportunity for people. The best they can do is create enabling environment so that private sector and other spheres of employment can also thrive. Let's even look at what young people. Okay, Mr. Oxford is back, so let's just let him conclude. Yes.
Yeah.
You were telling us about the USAID projects that you were on.
Yeah. So that's when we're training young African leaders. It's still ongoing. We did about 4,000 before I left, and I was responsible for post training. The post training, when they go to the main training, they are supposed to do community service, or they must be placed to institutions to work for internship and then go to mentorship program. So I was solely responsible for that. And then after that, we developed what we call alumni institution, whereby we also brought all the alumni together so that they can leverage on opportunities. And so I established the alumni development sector, and then I tried to put up the post-training, the mentorship, the internship, and community service. But prior to that, I also had worked extensively in communities with the World Bank and then SMV, other, what do you call it, NGOs in Ghana. And myself, I'm an entrepreneur, so also had a little business on the side. So you see, I have touched basically bits and pieces of all the sectors of the economy. So basically, that's what it is. And then my background, like my educational background, I have a degree in agriculture. I did a second degree in agronomy, and I have a law degree as such. And I have other certificates in leadership and management. So basically, that's what I can say about myself now.
Okay, it's a pity you joined us late, but we're happy you even joined anyway, because we're getting so many messages here, and I'd like you to read, maybe respond to some of them as we go on, so that we could just join in the discussions from where we stopped. This one is from Matthias, and it says, the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted every aspect of our lives. Most especially with the youth. It has rendered a lot of youth unemployed. Taking for instance the educational sector, many youth are teaching to earn a living, and since the COVID-19 pandemic, it has greatly affected the youth and rendered them unemployed. The solution to unemployment is that the government should create more jobs for the youth and also train the youth to acquire a skill so they could be self-employed and blah 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 blah. It didn't complete. Okay, I think concluding part as so how can the discussants address the issue of Nigerian business environment, in particular being very attractive but very hostile? I guess, okay, this is, sorry, I am mixing up the messages. This one is from someone else, so let me put it up here so that I can read it in full. The first one was half, so we couldn't join, but this is from Laz Okoro. It says the discussion is very apt in view of the present circumstances we find ourselves, occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. So how can the discussants address the issue of Nigeria business environment, in particular being very attractive but very hostile? I guess Laz is also trying to bring the fact of insecurity, maybe herdsmen clashes, because you can't ask people to go into agriculture and there are insecurity in some communities and all that. So, Mr. Philip, can you address this while we'll come back to Mr. Oxford to tell us a little about what they're also doing in terms of bringing to speed and employment situations for young people. But let's have your view as we respond to Mr. Laz Okoro.
It's in fact the fact that Laz Okoro mentioned is very apt because it's one of the challenge that most businesses face in Nigeria. Yes, apart from the challenges of insecurity, there's also several other problems that constitute a major problem for most businesses. Yes, the profitability of Nigerian business and environment is something that no one can deny because of the sheer number of our population and you know the nature of people we have in our country. But most importantly, what I should think this present is that that the government needs to do a lot more. Apart from the challenges of insecurity, there's also the ease of doing business. Sometimes is a major problem, and I would think if government is serious in solving the problem of unemployment in Nigeria, a lot of investment should be made in the area of ensuring that Nigerian business environment, the ease of doing business, is something that anyone, because majorly it's a major problem. I run some businesses. I run businesses that have people in my employment, over 50-something people in my employment at the present. I can tell you that one of the challenges that we usually face is the fact that there are multi-layers of various taxes, and some of these people, they don't care about how the business is doing. In fact, I used to make fun of them each time they visit my business environment because they will look at what you are doing, and in fact, the moment they come, they look at what you have, and they also
look at the office space. You can say, okay, you be big man.
Big man, yes, they want to be, but not knowing that it's even a great, for anyone to engage in business in our environment. It's really a very difficult one because the venture capital, you have to get it on your own. There is very little opportunity. Even if you want to go the route of getting incentives or loan from the bank, it's not available. Let me give you an instance. I remember when one of my business, when I started, it got a point that I just needed about 10% of the total investment, to be able to put the business on track. And I went to several banks, and I was not able to access any kind of support. But let me give you an instance. After 2 years, the same banks that I went to, to seek for those support, all of them were flooding the environment whether I want to take loans. That's the difficult of our business environment. But I also think that yes, it cannot. If you think outside the box, you should be able to navigate, the environment and make the best of it. You understand? So that's what I think. It's not enough excuse for anyone to say that because the environment is not so conducive that you will just accept the reality of not doing anything. I can tell you the profitability of business and environment is so much. It's so much if you can navigate through the rough patches that you definitely will encounter in setting up businesses. So for me, government should do a lot more by ensuring that some of these multiple taxes are eliminated. In fact, as it is today, It's practically impossible for anyone who is doing business in Nigeria and it has a component of the business or the raw materials that you need to get from outside the country because of the exchange rate and several other factors. Again, the exchange rate, the poor system of administration in the port. You can import stuff from outside, your raw material from outside the country, and it stays there for several before you even be able to clear them. So these are some of the areas that government should do a lot more. Create the incentives, create the environment that will make business easy for people, who are willing, because we have several you that are willing, to take the route of creating businesses. But yes, sometimes the environment can be a major obstacle. And I would think going forward, the government should do a lot more in those areas. Luckily, there are a few talks, that have been coming out on the part of government, in simplifying some of these tax regime that has considered an albatross for new businesses. So if government should push it further and reflect these reforms in virtually all the areas that will limit the growth of businesses, it will be a good thing.
Okay, so let's come back to you, Mr. Oxford. It's a good thing you've also delved in various spheres of the sector. So be it public, be it private, be it non-governmental, you've been through it all. Now, let's even look at how government can support the private sector to also, blossom and open doors. Because the truth is, if we're able to get more private sectors opening up the spaces, and I like the fact where Mr. Philip talked about the stringent measures, multiple taxation, insecurity, and others that are affecting a lot of businesses, because foreign investors will even want to come to Africa. But when they remember a lot of rancors and other things which might impede them, truth be said, every investor wants a value for their money. So no one will want to throw money into where it won't work. So how do we begin to make the environment friendly for private sectors to also take a bowl at that and begin to employ more of our youth?
All right, thank you very much. I must admit that the government for any institution, any state or any country is the biggest employer or the biggest person who can give business to anybody, whether it's contracted, anything, is the government. So the responsibility on the government to make sure that the environment is conducive for any business to thrive is huge. And so if you take, for instance, Ghana, government has several initiatives that it will make it easy for you or any other business person to move. Government has a policy called One District, One Factory. So what that means is that we want to build a district in we want to build a factory in every district. That is the direction of government. And so government has a ministry that is responsible for that assignment. And then they will give you their support, they give you investors to connect with. You get it. But then somebody will say that this is for big companies. This is a big thing that we are talking about. Of course, that is one side of it. And here too, government has a program what we call planting for food. And then that planting for food too, we also give subsidy for farmers, fertilizer subsidy, and sometimes they can also get implement or equipment to help them farm. So these are all the things that government has put in place to enable youth to access that. And we also have TVET. We have Technical Vocational Institute, whereby government is supporting existing vocational institutions so that people who cannot be on the mainstream education can now go there and probably apply some skills, like in fabrication, in bakery, or in block making, and all those things. So these are the things that government has actually put in place for enable youth to get access to employment. And notwithstanding that, government is supposed to do a direct recruitment. Like I say, government can say that, okay, in the legal sector, we are employing this number of lawyers, or in the health sector, we are employing this number of doctors and nurses. So government is supposed to also do that. If you come to Ghana, we have several programs called one of the programs is business incubation, whereby people who have established themselves as startups, they are taken through training, and then when they go through training, then they will get support from government, so to enable them also continue with their business or whatever they are doing. So these are the things that the government is doing that shows that government is actually exhibiting his role or responsibility as the father of the nation. So I believe government has a role to play as much as anybody, also any other group like the youth, ourselves, and then donor organization or any other sector. So that's what I believe.
Okay, Mr. Oxford, if you can see this, I'd like you to read it out for us and maybe give a response. It's from one of our viewers here.
So this is very good discussion. The fact is our youth are the backbone of the nation, and they are to be they are to be the priority of every government. Yes, the pandemic has affected everyone, but we should also applaud some of our youth who have during this pandemic has created means for survival and for others, but more work has to be done in employment provision for the youth. Okay, so I think she is actually supporting and giving us further input to the discussion, and she is right. So, pandemic or no pandemic, we are supposed to be innovative and have a strategy as youth. What you are doing, you are educating people. You are trying to create awareness that no, there's something that we have to do. There's nothing that anybody can do if you cannot prepare yourself, or if you haven't prepared yourself for an action. When we were young, we call something when preparation. There was a proverb, a common saying that when preparation meets opportunity, success is inevitable. So, as much as we are talking about, I mentioned several policy direction or programs that is being implemented. If I'm not ready, I can never assess it. Then I'll go and continue and complain about it. You get it?
Yeah.
Now, pandemic should teach you what are the areas that we have to develop or we have to put more effort. When we were under lockdown, it was about food and water. You understand? So that's the first thing that click your mind: food, water, and drug. So now, if I'm a youth and I want to enter into another business for the next 10 years, I should be looking at food sector, agriculture. But we don't want to sorry ourselves, we don't want to be seen as doing agriculture. And so we have existing businesses. Now, if you take the main three sectors that I mentioned, you realize that we have to have a drive or a vehicle that will push all this business. Now we talk about digitalization. So how can I have a business that will not need a lot of physical contact? You get it. So this is the thinking that we have to have as youth. There's no point. I'm a youth myself, and then I would from where I've worked, I've engaged a lot of them. Every year from my office, we deploy 90,000 youth from university to go and do their service and come back. So think about it. In the next 10 years, about 900,000 youth will be in the system. How many of them will be absorbed by existing jobs? So we should have people who themselves see that how do we contribute to the solution? Because we found out the problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're back.
Now we find ourselves in the problem already. So what can we do in complementing the effort of any government as youth? What can we do? And I believe one of the major issue that we have to look into is not about the skill training alone, but soft skills, leadership skills. You understand? Leadership skills is what the youth also need to be taught. So now, when you are taught leadership, you realize that you don't see the problem as a problem alone, but you see it as opportunity for you to do something. You get it? And so we entered into pandemic. And if you come to Ghana has resumed full work we've forgotten about, as if we've forgotten our pandemic. You understand? Because now we open our borders, we are flying in and out. Now everybody is doing full-time work. We have to go to work fully. We are not under lockdown. We did voters registration. We are going into election in the next 3 months. Everything is happening. We have to institute a protocol, what do you call it, the safety protocol, so that we can survive. It takes somebody to see that, no, this problem is not going anywhere. What can we do to make sure we survive?
Yeah.
We have to kick in our survival instinct. Like, we have to survive. Because even in
Yeah.
animal kingdom, those who are not surviving, they are eaten by the stronger animals.
Survival of the
So
fittest.
survival of the fittest. So we have to prove that yes, we can do something for ourselves. Of course, we can never compare Africa to Europe. I can say that, okay, the system there is probably better than our system. But notwithstanding that, the fact that a youth in US can create something that can carry everybody in the world along, that's how I have to see myself. I have to see myself to make a breakthrough that will be similar to Mark Zuckerberg. That's how you have to think it. It's not, don't see yourself like, okay, you are disadvantaged because you come from Africa. Not really. If you do your research, you realize that people who also come from Africa, they are doing big things. So think, even within Africa, take Davido, Wizkid, they are young people in their field, they are excelling, they are doing excellent. So think about yourself, that what can I also do? It's persistency, consistency, perseverance, and then hard work. So if you put in all those things, then we'll be there. So whatever other opportunity that come, you'll be able to access it.
Okay, thank you very much. In case you just joined, you've missed quite a lot, but so many messages here. I will read that after I take Mr. Philip on this, as we begin to wrap up shortly. What is the place of volunteering? Because in my little work with young people, I've noticed that all they think about is money, 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 and they are forgetting that volunteering also opens a whole wide door of opportunities for them, because it is even when you volunteer in an organization that you know when there are openings, there are quick opportunities. Maybe someone is relocating or getting transferred or something, and they're like, okay, you did very well during your volunteering period, come in. So what's the place for volunteering? You find you call young people for a few things, and the next thing they ask you, how much you go pay me? Money day inside. And they are forgetting that many great minds who are breaking barriers today are people who volunteered hitherto before they became great. So what will you like to say quickly about this as we begin to wrap up?
Very importantly, I think what the youths need to do at this moment is to have a change of mind, to change their thought pattern, because it has a way of affecting, the drive and what you will be able to achieve. For a lot of youths, what you need at this moment is opportunity to acquire any skill that will be useful to you. Volunteerism is one of the sure way of having the opportunity, to grow your skill and make yourself viable, in starting your own business. One of the challenges I've realized, just like all of us have pointed out, is the fact that so many youths are, have a mindset that is not so good at present. What I mean by this is the fact that so many youths want to appear. They just want to emerge. The majority of them look at what the social media is presenting, and they take it as a reality. That's not the reality. The reality is that for you to succeed in life, you have to work. You have to think outside the box. You have to, to go the extra mile, and begin to adapt and build a pattern for yourself. Because at the end of it all, is your ability as an individual that will make a difference in the way you achieve your plans. For me, at this point, the youth need to look inwards. They should begin to, there are 1,001 opportunities that exist in our environment. Most importantly, in Nigeria as of today, all you need to do is just to look away from all those crowds and begin to look at the opportunities and isolate yourself in identifying those areas that most times those crowds where a lot of people are looking at. Because what I have seen, what I have noticed is that for a lot of people, the moment this is the business that is working, everyone wants to get in.
Want to troop
but that's
in,
not
yeah.
it. Yes, you can't grow a business in that pattern. Yeah, you hear that what is raining now is to Babin Saloon, everyone will jump in. That's
everybody will just go.
Yes. So yeah. you need to identify the area you want to go in and seek for skill. Skill is important because in fact, if you have the whole money and you don't have the requisite skill, you realize that just a matter of time, those money will disappear. So, but whatever it is, it takes you majorly like what you pointed out, volunteering. If it entails you, going to, organizations or to individuals that have the skill that you're looking for, whatever it takes you. I used to tell some of my friends that there are some opportunities. If you ask me to go and work in those places for 1 year without getting any money, I'll do it today. But unfortunately, most times you create a certain level in your life, there's a certain level you cannot. If I know what I know today, I would have made more money. You understand? So that's what I used to say. But I encourage our youth to begin to, to look at opportunities. Sometimes.
Thank you very much. Okay. Let's go.
So sometimes you need to look outside those areas that everyone is running into. Sometimes initially I talked about the dirty job. You're the one that is not so attractive, but that's where the money is. And also there is a huge potential in the what the new media has offered us. For us as an individual, as a youth, you need to identify your skill. You need to identify your talent and work on it. And the internet have provided a huge platform that you can sell your personal brand. First of all, what you need to do is to build your brand. Building a brand requires consistency. It requires integrity. It requires you, understanding the skill that you want to sell. And if you do it well, I can tell you that so many people invest in your skill. Also, there's something I need to point out. Sometimes starting a business is not just about money. It's not, yes, money is important, but what you need most is, the skill and the capacity that is required in building such businesses. When you have it, when you have good idea, I can tell you a lot of people will invest in whatever good idea you have, because venture capitalists exist. But most times in Nigeria, people are looking, who can I trust? This young person, if I give him money, will he be able to make returns? Because sometimes with the ideas a lot of people have is that let me just have money, let me just enjoy myself. You need to begin to have a mindset. A mindset of success is a one that is rooted in integrity, is a one that is rooted in making sacrifice. It's a one that is, you have to be resilient. You have to be strong. You have to understand the area you want to go, and you have to pursue it with everything you have. If you do that in an environment where a lot of opportunity exists, you make a lot of money.
Okay, we're wrapping up now. I'll be coming back to ask each of you the way forward quickly, and then we will. I think I've read. Okay, there's a message here that I want Mr. Oxford to read for us and maybe reply. I thought we had read it before, but have we read this? So many of them here, and I don't know. No, we really don't have time. But
the discussion is timely. In as much as we know that the acquisition of skills is vital for our youth, what role should mentorship play in starting up a business? We have seen youth pack up after making attempt to run successful business. I would say that mentorship is everything. Mentorship is everything. We just started not too long ago. I would say like mentorship entered really in Africa in the past 6 years or 7 years. But then every institution should employ mentorship program. Even schools supposed to have mentorship, and they have it. They call it guidance and counseling, or your counselor. You should be able to have connection with him, so that you'll be able to know your academic path. An academic path would translate to your career path. We just exist. That's our problem. And there could be two phases. You can be having inspiration in somebody you can never meet. The person can be in Nigeria, but that is where you take your inspiration from. And there could be a mentor that you know consciously that this is my mentor, and I'm learning ABCD from you. So I have to come to you for discussion about things that I have to do. You understand that? Even Jesus Christ was taught how to conduct or come and apply the assignment given to him by God. That is why the Father was the mentor. So the Father taught Jesus Christ how to do certain things in the house, and then it went to the church and all that. So even Muhammad too. So they all have to learn that this is what I have to do. There should be somebody to walk your hand. Because let me tell you, no matter what skills you have acquired and how smart you are, there should be somebody in the room to tell you that Oxford is the guy. There should be somebody to recommend that Oxford is the guy. That thing alone can take you. And who could that be? Is your mentor. And so that's what Philip was talking about. Now, the reason why people don't want to volunteer, when you ask them work, they will tell you, how much are you going to pay me? Because they know they can't survive the work for 3 months. So if they get money now, they will work for nothing, because in the 3 months, so if you are very confident about what you are bringing on board, there's no way. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, go on.
Yeah, if you know what you can bring on board, there's no way you can ask for money first. At least if I work for you for 1 year and I could never be paid, I have learned something from your institution. You understand? So we should be in a position that people open doors for us to exhibit what we have. Now, what is better than you sitting an interview and pointing to things that you have done for yourself than telling them I'll be able to do ABCD? If Philip go for interview, if I go for interview, I'm only telling you achievement in previous work that I have done. So that is what gives you the job. It is not what you have studied in school.
We're wrapping up now. I will.
So, like I'm saying, okay, you're back.
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah. So that is what we need to do. There should be a lot of such programs on our continent, so that even if, think about it, how was law developed? Before you can be a lawyer, you have to go to LinkedIn, select a lawyer, and study under that lawyer, and then the lawyer will sign you out. Okay, Philip has studied enough under me to be practicing as a lawyer. You understand? So some institutions had the mentorship framework already, but they was not conscious about it. You get it? And nothing stops you from knocking somebody's door or sending an email that say, this is me, and this is what I want to become in the next 5 years. And I believe you have exhibited that quality enough for me to learn from you. Can I have your time for an hour? You understand? I mean, I can give you a typical example of some of the mentorship experience that I had when I was doing the USA program. Tony, it's Tony Elomino, the, what do you call it, the banker.
Yeah.
I had a group of people who wanted him to be their mentor, and it was my duty to connect them. So I sent a mail to him, and then he said that he's very busy, he cannot be their mentor, but then he's sending, I should send their individual emails, and he has written a book, so he sent the book to them. And 3 of them agreed. One person said no, why, I want to talk to him, and I told them, listen to me, the person didn't say you sending me the books to me for me to be given to you. He says he will send the book to you individually. That is the beginning of your mentorship. If I were you, I will finish reading the book and I would critique the book or tell him my opinion about the book. That is how he will invite me to come over. And not so what happened was that if an event also happened. So they accepted it. They accepted the book. And one of the guy went to a program where they met Tony. And he just said, I'm this person who you send the book under this program. That's how they got connected. So, I mean, we look too systematic. We just want to be seeing that, okay, this is what is happening to me. And this is what we want to do. I have a mentor who happened to come from my family, but he's a very big person. And we have established a relationship that I may not hear from him for a whole month or 6 months, but he has me in his mind that I'm mentoring Oxford. So anything that I need to push to him to enable him to work for me, he will do that. So I think we should be open and then put our face to the people and let them know that, yes, we want to learn from them. We don't have to sit back and expect that people will voluntarily come to you and say, let me go and mentor you. You have to be very proactive. So that is one skill that you have to learn. Mentorship, no doubt, is very, very important skill or thing that we have to know going forward in our youth development.
It appears where we might.
Yeah, we lost our host already.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. So, and I think that if I have to add something to what you said, I mean, apart from the mentorship as a skill that we need to adopt, we also have to adapt free services. The same thing about the volunteering. We have to see within our communities, and we should be able to work together. Well, the problem we have in Africa is the ability to work with your brother or your friend. That is the biggest problem because we don't trust ourselves. Maybe the system has made it so that if immediately I start working with you, I feel in my heart that you're going to cheat me. And so that becomes the problem. So we should develop trust beyond the facial expression, like things that we talk about. We should be truly say that, because the bottom line is that you cannot have the 100% trust, but you should be able to say that I have 40 or 60%. And that based on that 40, 60%, I want to work with you. If I'm not able to continue with you to some point, then I can depart or I can part ways with you. But then we should be able to start something. People will disappoint us.
In fact, Oxford. Yeah. I think it's you just mentioned a very important point. Collaboration is most times very absent in Africa because most people want to go it on their own. They want to to go it all alone. But that's not what is required, because for us to be able to build something big, we have to work together. And that's the point I would also encourage our youth to assess and to the path to follow, because most times you may have the knowledge, you may have the resources, but you may not have all that is required. Sometimes it's just the spirit. So form partnership, form collaborations that will help you in your business area, and that we give you a leverage to be able to attend achieve your goal. Sometimes what is required is actually economic of scale. Because if I'm bringing my skill and you're bringing your resources, and we come together and we will build a trust, which is one of the ingredients that is lacking mostly on our own part of the world. Because just like you stated, a lot of people have this fear that if I go into this business with this person, I may be cheated out. But I think a time has come for us, for the youth, to begin to reassess themselves and begin to to adapt a more honest view about situations and about circumstances, so that at the end of it all, they will be able to achieve their goals. Emma, we have you back.
Sorry about that. So are you guys wrapping up?
Yeah, yes, we are wrapping up. We are
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello, Mr. Ma.
You went back again.
Hey. Hi.
Yeah. So I think, like you were saying, we should be thinking about this.